Imagine this. You are on a flight watching a movie or maybe enjoying a cup of coffee. Everything feels normal until suddenly a soft wave of whispers spreads through the cabin. Something has happened. The flight attendants rush toward the passenger. They lean over, try to help, try everything they can, but just a few moments later, one of them looks up, their face serious, and says quietly, "I'm sorry, he didn't make it." It's a shocking moment. No one ever wants to see something like this during a journey. But the truth is, it can happen. That's rare, yes, we know, but still possible. So, what really happens if someone dies on a plane? Let's find out together. Hello friends and welcome back. On this channel, we explore fascinating questions about airplanes, airports, and the skies above us. So, stay with me. Let's continue this unusual but important story together. There was once a flight to France where a passenger suddenly had a heart attack. The crew rushed to his side, tried their best, but soon realized nothing more could be done. Gently, they covered him with a blanket and secured his seatbelt. The plane was completely full. There was no empty seat to move him, and since the aircraft was still outside France's airspace, when it finally landed, the authorities placed the plane under quarantine until the official cause of death was confirmed. Thankfully, the process didn't take too long, and the passengers were soon allowed to leave and continue with their plans. There comes a question that every passenger may have to ask. What happens if a passenger suddenly becomes very sick before death? So, let me explain to you. First, the cabin crew checks the passenger's condition. If it looks serious, they immediately ask over the loudspeaker if there is a doctor or nurse on board. If the situation is critical, they do everything possible to save the passenger's life. For some of the flights, the crew will usually divert to the nearest airport so the passenger can get emergency treatment. But on some of the flights, if the passenger's condition allows, the pilots try to wait until they reach the destination's airspace. But why? Mainly to avoid long paperwork and complicated legal procedures. Here is something surprising. Officially, no one can be declared dead on an airplane. Why? Because legally only a doctor or medical professional can make that announcement. So, even if it is clear the passenger has passed away, the crew cannot announce death. The flight usually continues to its destination, and then the real question arises. Where should the body be placed? In many cases, the passenger stays exactly where they are, in their seat, right next to the fellow travelers. To make it less disturbing, the crew covers the body with a blanket so other passengers do not have to face the side directly. Some airlines, however, may use special body bag or move the person to another section of the plane, but this depends to space and to the airline policies. Now, here is something you probably didn't expect. If there is a space available in business class or first class, the deceased passenger might actually be moved there. But this is why. Because economy class is crowded and tight, with no room to spare, but in premium cabins, there is extra space and privacy. So, yes, a passenger who passes away in economy may end up upgraded to first class, at least for the rest of the journey. If no seats are free in those sections, the crew sometimes places the body discreetly near the lavatories until landing. It may sound unusual, but every airline has its own way of handling such rare situations. Now, before this sounds too scary, let's look at the numbers. The chance of a passenger dying on a plane is extremely rare. In fact, in the year of 2010, there were about 20,000 cases of in-flight medical emergencies worldwide. Out of all those, only 93 resulted in death. So, it can happen, but it almost never does. And remember, flight attendants are highly trained to deal with medical issues, and in most cases, the passenger recovers or is quickly taken to a hospital. So, the next time you step onto a plane, you can relax. The skies are safe, the crew is prepared, and chances are, the most dramatic thing you will experience is a little turbulence. Thank you for flying with me today. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep your love for the skies alive.